track for today. Of course, we cannot forget you faithful listeners of RTCI. Hope you're having a great time on this very special day. And this is a song that I would like to offer to all the faithful listeners. So hope you're having a great time on this very special day. And I congratulate all those who are celebrating success on this very special day, or they are celebrating a birthday. So wish you happy birthday. Today we are going to speak about an interesting event. We are going to talk about preserving and protecting the Medina of Tunis. And for this, I would like to thank my guest over the phone, Mrs. Leila Gacem from the Collectif Mdiniti, who is going to tell us a little bit more about this pilot project of preserving the architectural heritage of the Medina of Tunis. Hi, Leila, how are you?
Hi, Hude. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you for accepting the invitation too. It seems that it is a very important project as we love the Medina of Tunis, its typical architecture. And we are worrying, actually, yes. Every time you are sightseeing in the city, you are worrying about plenty of buildings that are almost collapsing, not only in the Medina, but also in very different places in Tunisia. And we are really so sad that we are losing part of our heritage, part of our identity. And this pilot project comes as a kind of a fresh air that is going hope that our history and our heritage is going to be preserved thanks to the collaboration and the interaction of plenty of stakeholders. So what is about this pilot project for the preservation of the architectural heritage of the Medina of Tunis? What happened during this first phase? Because it seems that it is the first part of a whole project. There are other phases coming.
Yes, thank you, Hude. Exactly. I think Tunisia has a rich architectural heritage, and everyone needs to collaborate. It's everybody's. It belongs to no one. It's all of us are responsible in preserving our rich heritage. In fact, the Medina of Tunis and every Medina in Tunisia, the Medina of Tunis has more than 600 palaces, madrasas, mosques, shrines, all in need of professional maintenance. Mm-hmm. And this 10-day pilot initiative that took place the last 2 weeks before Eid, it was an initiative, it was a big collaboration, and the aim, the hidden objective maybe, was to create a platform where everybody can collaborate and share their know-how. The initiative was led by COPAM and INP, the Institute of National Heritage, and it took place at Dar Ben Abdallah. Dar Ben Abdallah is a palace in the Medina of Tunis which was built in the 18th century. It was first built by a notable Mr. Santini, and then it was sold to Sliman Kehya, a general, and then the last owner was Ben Abdallah, who was a silk trader. In 1964, it became a public building, and it became the Museum of Popular Arts and Traditional Museum. The building was closed, was shut down over 10 years ago to be restored, but then it was challenging to find the needed resources to maintain it. So during these 10 days of pilot training, we had 2 workshops. One workshop was about involved architects, young architects from the National School of Architecture and civil engineers from the National School of Engineering, and also students from the National Institute of Heritage. They all collaborated on understanding how to diagnose a historical building, and this in itself is a profession. How to understand the issues with the stone walls, with the wood, the carpentry, the gypsum carving, the metalwork, all needs professional know-how on how to maintain it. The second workshop was related to heritage masonry. And this is also a know-how that is sadly not taught today in our schools. Our professional training, our schools of vocational training, they teach construction, but they don't teach maintenance. But also our civil engineers and architects have very little academic curriculum related to our stony walls and heritage traditions and construction. So it was an excellent chance for all of us to work together. And the good thing about this project was that it united experienced architects, young architects, experienced masons, new masons, civil society, private sector, government sector. Everyone contributed to this pilot project. As you said, this is the first stage. It was a very important step to understand what we lack in our academia. It was also, I think, the most beautiful thing is to give hope in the potential of our heritage. And this is exactly what you said. I think we have a very rich heritage, and it should give us purpose for our present and hope for our future. And I think it has inspired a lot of young people to dig further and to become specialists in our heritage. And the next step will be to work with the universities that are part of this program and try to create an academic curriculum. But also what is extremely important is to create a balanced academic curriculum that is not just theory, it's theory and practice. And practice, we need private sector, we need public sector to open up these historical buildings and allow them to become spaces for learning for future generation of architects, future generation of masons, future generation of artisans. So it was an important first step. We learned a lot, and those learnings will be the basis for the next stages.
I really find it really wonderful, this initiative, because actually we diagnose that you have a lack in the know-how concerning the preservation of old ancient buildings that are part of our heritage. And this is a good initiative that comes from the decision makers, actually from those partners with you, into including that into the academic. Here we identified that there is a field in need, a field in the preservation of our heritage, and we need young people who get specialized in the field in order to preserve that. So I suppose the National Institute of Architecture are going to realize how important it is to have a new section concerning the preservation and the maintenance. On the other hand, as you said, also is the Ministry of Professional Training. Those who are really interested in this field, for sure, you are going to find opportunities of job in the field, because it's really important. We have plenty of buildings that are in need of restoration and really refurbishing.
Yes, and I think what is important is to create an ecosystem of opportunities. It's not enough to create the academic curriculum. You have to create the market behind. There has to be an economic benefit, otherwise it will not survive. And this is why it's important that the private sector becomes part of this initiative, and feels, because the private sector, when they feel that there is an ecosystem and there are opportunities, there are people, there's a knowledge that can be used to transform historical buildings into livable, active buildings that contribute to their communities and create wealth, create jobs. That's how the private sector will get involved, and this will require that the academia, the public sector, also become part of the. So it's really creating an ecosystem. It's not. I think the wealth of heritage that we have. No one can save it on its own. The private cannot do it on its own. The public cannot do it on its own. Academia cannot do it on its own. Everyone has to work together to create an ecosystem of opportunities. And that's how we can create wealth and preserve our heritage.
Exactly, and here really pinpointed the most important point that the government has to take into account. So the preservation of heritage is not the job of a specific sector, but everybody has to be involved into that. And that's why during this workshop, there were around 48 participants. There are artisans, as you said, schools, here students from the nous, National School of Architecture, and but there were also experts, international experts during this workshop.
Yes, it was actually beautiful to see the experienced masons of ENT working alongside students from the School of Traditional Crafts and experienced architects with worldwide experience in protecting and preserving historical buildings, working with our young architects from the National School of Architecture, and this creates a lot of positive energy. So I do hope that the learnings from this stage, we will do all we can to capitalize on all the lessons learned, and continue building the ecosystem needed to create jobs, to create positivity,
Yeah,
to
sure.
preserve our heritage, and tell a more positive story about our history.
Thank you so much, Leila. So it is really it was really an important moment of sharing, and it was a platform of exchange too. So that's concerning the first phase. What are we expecting during the second phase?
So, as I said, there's a lot of lessons learned. We found, we now understand better the gaps in the market, the gaps in raw material, the gaps in manual know-how, the gaps in even legislation.
Yes.
So now we're digesting everything, and we're going to. I think there's a lot. I'm also excited that we got Enid to join last minute, and I think civil engineers are also great in working with architects, alongside architects and artisans, to create the needed professions to save our heritage. So now we're going to digest these learnings, and one by one try to design projects around them. We have various initiatives lining up, so I'm optimistic for the future. This is the start, and we'll do all we can to make sure we grow the impact.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Leila. We have to remind our listeners that the Medina of Tunis became part of the the World Heritage, and that since 1979. And we hope that that's gonna be a fruitful exchange between all the stakeholders, being national and international, between students, passionates, and lovers of heritage. And we hope that all the Medina of Tunis, not only of Tunis, actually, all the Medinas are going to be restored, and we are going to see our monuments, our buildings, ancient buildings, in a better shape and shining bright, like many establishments and like many buildings in Europe. Actually, it is so amazing when you sightsee in one of the cities of in European cities, and you see how beautifully they are restored and maintained. Actually, you can sometimes roam in one of the streets of France. For example, I take as example Strasbourg. It was in the city of the Alsace. I mean, here you can sightsee in a whole city that dates back to the 1400, and it feels like it is so new.
Yes, it's magical. All historical cities around the world are magical. It's
Exactly.
just living and walking history and feeling the magic of the wealth of heritage that lasted for us to experience. And
Yes.
I hope we can even do better for the next generation to appreciate what we have done in our time.
Yes, and we rely a lot on the young passionates, on the young people who are going to be in love with the heritage, and they are going to be to do their best in order to restore it.
Yeah, that's the key. Yes.
That's the key. Thank you so much, Leila Ben Gacem from the Collectif
Thank you,
Mdiniti.
for the invitation again. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. We go back to music.